How's it going, people? It's Charlie and welcome back to another video on the Chatting Footy Show YouTube channel. It's that time of the week, guys. It's your pre-match thoughts video for Leeds United versus Manchester United, which is at Ellen Road tomorrow afternoon. So, it's the big one. Manchester United. Scum. I think it's fair to say that there's a bit of hatred between both clubs. What an amazing game this would have been to have seen at Ellen Road live. Packed out Ellen Road against them bastards would have been brilliant. We've beaten Man City. We took a point against Liverpool. Can we do it against these? I think we can. But it'll be a completely different kettle of fish, won't it, to the other two with how they play. So we'll get into the thoughts on the game in just a second, guys, but as always the message is going to be the same. Please smash that like button, comment your opinions, score predictions, team news predictions, things like that as well if you like, and more importantly, if you're new to the channel or if you're watching and you haven't subbed, please subscribe. It would really help me out. So let's get into it, guys. So then, guys, first of all, I think from a Man United point of view, you know, they're pretty much guaranteed second now. I don't think they'll finish any higher or any lower. I think they've fully cemented that second place. After a really shaky start to the season, you know, I remember them getting beat at home against Palace 3-1. I remember Spurs beating them 6-1. They didn't look like they were going to finish in the top 4. Like, they'd have been very lucky to have finished in the top 10 for me back then when they were losing those games. But to be fair to Solskjaer, you know, he has had his critics, but he seems to have got them really playing now. He seems to have found the right balance in the team in terms of his team selections from week to week. And yeah, pains me to say it as a Leeds fan, but they're doing really well. I think they're unbeaten in like 12 or 13 away games now. So obviously away from home in this one, so it'll be hard. I think, you know, yes, we had an amazing game at the Etihad. We took a point. I mean, we gained a point, from Liverpool. But this one's going to be a different kettle of fish for me. In terms of how they play, they like to hit teams on the counter attack, which we don't like because of how we play. We're so attack minded that we are vulnerable on the counter attack. From time to time. In terms of what players in this team that worry me, I think the main one is obviously Bruno Fernandes. He's not quite of the level of a Kevin De Bruyne for me, but he's up there. Great passer of the ball, really intelligent player in that midfield, and he's got a good shot on him as well, and he likes to score a penalty, doesn't he, old Bruno? So let's not be giving any cheap fouls away in the box in this one, please. But yeah, obviously, you know, there's not just Bruno, there's, you know, Paul Pogba, who I think has had his critics over the last few years at Man United, but always seems to have got the best out of him recently. He's very much a confidence-based player, is Pogba. If you leave him out of the team for a while and he comes back in, he's shite for me. But when he's playing week in, week out, he's consistent, he knows his job on the pitch, he knows what he's doing, then he's different class. Another player as well I just want to point out from Man United as well, just from an England standpoint, is Luke Shaw. Really surprised me this season as Luke Shaw. I think when they brought in Alex Telles, I thought that was him done. If I'm honest, I thought there's no way he can get in over Alex Telles. I'd seen Telles play briefly and he looked really good. I think the games that Telles has played for Man U this season, he has done quite well. But Luke Shaw's just massively upped his game, and for me he's been the best left back in the league. And there's the whole argument of either him or Chilwell for England at the Euros, but for me it's a no-brainer. Luke Shaw over Ben Chilwell all day long. It's not just how great he is going forward, but his defensive work as well is really good, and I really admire that about Luke Shaw. Like I said briefly as well, they do like to hit teams on the counter attack. They're not like an all-out attack minded team, which is a worry for us because, like I said, we attack. We have been a lot better defensively over the last few weeks since Llorente's cemented himself in the centre half role. But we are still vulnerable to that odd counter attack. It nearly happened a few times against Liverpool on Monday night. Nearly happened kind of against City a few times as well. So we just need to maintain a shape and know that if we're going to go forward, we need to have enough men back to be able to track back and track the likes of maybe Greenwood if he plays, Cavani, Rashford and Bruno Fernandes as well. Moving on then to a Leeds United perspective now. Obviously, when we knew April was coming and we had the likes of City, Liverpool and Man United all back to back, I'll be honest, I was very doubtful that we would get much from these 3 games. Not to be negative, it's just, each of these 3 teams have got players that are just different class, and I think that's more than fair to say. But we beat City, we took a point off Liverpool. Who knows what's going to happen in this one? But if we lose, then that to still take 4 points from these 3 games is massive for me. So if we lose, then yeah, it'll be disappointing, but we'll move on to Brighton next week, and that'll be that. Personally though, I do think we have the capabilities to beat this Man United team. Obviously, given the fact that we took a win against City and a draw against Liverpool. Rafinha seems to be a major doubt for this game, which, does worry me a little bit, given that the other choices that we've got are Costa and Poveda. But for me, Costa will probably play. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But for me, Ian Poveda, he did really well when he came on against Liverpool. Caused Andy Robertson more issues than what Costa did when he were on the pitch. So for me, there's a shout for Ian Poveda to get in this team. Hit me up in the comments with if you agree on that. I really do think he deserves a shot in this first team. Yeah, it's Man United, and you could see it as a bit of a risk, given that he's not really started a game for us in the Premier League yet, but fuck it, why not? Costa's work rate against Liverpool was poor for me. Not compared to his City performance. Obviously Harrison will start on the other wing. Hopefully he can cause Aaron Wan-Bissaka some issues, but again, Wan-Bissaka's good defensively as well, so that'll be a huge task for Harrison, but one that I think he's more than capable of doing. I feel like Costa on his day, if he's up for it, can cause Luke Shaw a few issues hopefully, but for me, I think there's definitely a shout for Poveda to start in this game. You expect the back four to stay the same as well, with Coops still out suspended. So you're looking at Ayling, Llorente, Strike and Alioski. I've said it before and I'll say it again, I do want Koch to start with Llorente on a more of a long-term thing. I understand that towards the end of the season that probably won't happen as much, but from next season onwards that needs to be the centre-back partnership. We've paid, call it 30 million for both these guys. They need to be starting together if they're both fully fit. The midfield, obviously KP will keep his place in the usual spot. I expect it to be Dallas and Tyler Roberts still. Tyler Roberts needs to be way more clinical for me. That chance against Liverpool, he should have fucking buried that. I know it's alright criticising him when you're not on the pitch, you're not in the moment, and he has just lashed at it. But he hit it right at Alisson. He needs to be way more clinical. He has played a lot better over the last few weeks as Tyler. I'm not as angry about him being in the starting 11 as what I maybe was a few months back. But needs to be way more clinical. So does Bamford as well. Now I'm not going to criticise Paddy as much because we all know that he goes through phases where he might be quiet or he doesn't score for a few games. But the chance in the first half against Liverpool, it took way too long to get that shot off or to make up his mind about that. He should have just shot for me. He hits the bar, which is unlucky as well, but he hasn't scored since Fulham, I believe. So we need him back on the score sheet to try and push for that Euro place. To be honest, I don't think he'll get it even if he scores in every game till the end of the season. I think Southgate's just made up his mind about that one. That's just not happening. KP will obviously get his place in that team. But yeah, I feel like Poveda could start, well, should start for me, but he'll probably go for Costa. Bamford needs to be way more clinical, and the lads in general, we just need to be up for this one. It's Man United. Yes, it's not a packed out Ellen Road, but it's Man United at home. They know what this game means to us fans. As long as they give a good account of themselves, and that's all you can ask for, really. So then guys, let's just summarise this video then. So yeah, I'm really excited for this rivalry to resume again tomorrow afternoon against the Scum. They hate us, we hate them. Whoever wins has got the bragging rights. Yes, they had their fun evening against us back in December when they beat us 6-2. Even their fans need to admit it's not going to be that scoreline this game, even if they do win the game. We're much better than what we were then. The defence has toughened up hugely since that game. As for a prediction, I'm going to back Leeds, obviously. I'm going to go for another 2-1 prediction. We seem to like that scoreline a lot of late, the Leeds, so I'll go for 2-1. Goal scorer predictions, Bamford, just because I want him to get back on the score sheet, and we'll go for a no, not Tyler Roberts. We'll go Dallas. I was going to go Tyler, but no. We'll go for Paddy Bamford and Dallas for the goals for Leeds. As I said, guys, hit me up in the comments with your score predictions, who you think should be in the team, etc. And as always, smash that like button. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the post-match video. Cheers.